Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to our star ratings for AEW Double or Nothing. As you can tell, I've got the energy today. I need twice the energy because, Larson, you're infirmed.
Yeah, I got a sinus infection brewing in my head right now today, shaping to be a dud.
This is what you got to do, man. You got to go down to the doctor, get those antibiotics. They're going to act like Darby Allin's flamethrower to Jack Perry, lighten him on fire, get rid of all that bacteria in there.
All right, let's get on with it then, because I got no time to waste.
Speaking of time to waste, by the time those other guys get their star ratings up, it's going to be next month.
What are they even doing over there? What are they even doing?
They've been doing this for decades.
I should be in bed. I'm like on 5 hours of sleep. My head feels like it's twice the size it actually is. I have no business working right now, and yet here I am, deliver these fresh, hot star ratings to everybody.
Super fresh.
Steve, let's start. First match of the main card. You got Will Ospreay winning that international championship from Roderick Strong. What'd you give this match?
Get out of here. It's Will Ospreay, Roderick Strong, two of my favorite in-ring guys, maybe in the history of professional wrestling. 4.5 stars. I thought this was awesome. International title on the line. Told the story about the referee stopping the match for a moment, and Will Ospreay's like, "Oh, bro, what have I done? Another life lost here in the ring to Will Ospreay." And but then he ended up taking down Roderick Strong for that title. 4.5 stars. That was an awesome match.
We're in alignment here. 4.5 stars. It was very, very good. I didn't think it quite reached the heights of, for example, Ospreay Danielson or some of other Ospreay's 5-star classics, but still very, very good. I like the story they're doing with Ospreay about the Storm Driver, yay or nay. He's got those flashbacks to hurting Danielson. It bothers him, but he also likes to win. So there's this conflict within him in every match, whether he's going to drop somebody with the Storm Driver or not. It's interesting. I'm curious to see how it plays out. Played out fairly effectively here, but not enough to be a 5-star match. Next,
bitch.
You got the Bang Bang Gang. Guns up, Steve.
Guns up.
Retaining the Unified Trios titles against Death Triangle. If this was a Collision main event or a Dynamite main event, it'd be a really good match. It was a good match.
It was a good match.
It was a good match.
It was a good match.
It was a good match. In terms of the story, though, is what? Bang Bang Gang did something to stir something up in Pac that he wanted to wrestle. Match ensued. A little bare bones when it comes to the story. I gave it 3.25 stars. It was fine. It was reasonably entertaining, but I don't really remember much about it.
Kachra's aligned. 3.25 stars from me as well. That's what I have on my doc. And yeah, man, look, if this was on Collision, it gotten 3.25. If it's on pay-per-view, it's going to get 3.25. It's a 3.25 match. Next bitch.
Next match we got for the AEW Women's Championship. Toni Storm defeating Serena Deeb. Timeless Toni Storm still champion. Steve, what'd you give this match?
Solid 4-star affair, man. I thought this was a really good match. I thought that that finish with the pile driver from the top.
Oh, that's
that was cool. And yeah, I just thought that it was just one of them really solid, entertaining. I knew coming into this they were going to put on a banger of a match. Toni Storm didn't need the cheat to win. Yeah, thought it was really good stuff. 4 stars.
Again, perfect alignment. Are you hacking my phone and getting my scores off my phone? Because 3 for 3 so far.
Look, man, I didn't do my homework last night. I got to get my star ratings from somewhere.
4 stars. I agree with that.
I don't know how to hack anything. Get out of here with that.
4 stars. Yeah, 4-star match. It was fantastic. The finish was awesome. Enjoyed every
I know there's
going to
be one match we're definitely not in a line.
And I feel like it's going to come up within the next 4 matches. Let's move on. Yes, Tony versus Serena. 4 stars. Excellent. Trent taking another L to Orange Cassidy. Again, if this was probably more likely a Rampage main event or a Dynamite main event or a Collision main event, it would be a good match.
Good match.
A good match. The problem is it was a little too much of a carbon copy of their first match where Orange steals the win because we've, as wrestling fans, been conditioned to accept the sneaky, opportunistic roll-up as not a decisive victory. But that's twice now that Orange has gotten those type of wins over Trent. Trent's got the new music, the new Tron, new gear, new attitude, same results, L.
Yeah.
I gave this 3 stars. At first I had 3.25, but I thought about it. I'm like, it didn't advance anything. Nothing's advanced by the end of this match. And wrestling's about telling stories. They didn't advance any story here. 3-star match.
I gave it 3. I did give it 3.25, same as I gave Bang Bang Gang 3.25. I thought that, look, they're, like we said, good match, right? They're good. And I thought this was a really good match, so that's why I gave it 3.25. But like you said, there's too much redundancy there. Didn't do enough. The exact same reason I gave this to Bang Bang Gang and Death Triangle is like, I've just seen these guys' matches over and over again. Like, maybe not against each other, but like certainly just they all follow a similar thing. I'm not seeing anything new. Didn't see really anything new here, so I gave it the same star. I gave it 3.25.
Next, let's talk about the FTW Championship match. Chris Jericho defended successfully against Hook Katsuyori Shibata. What'd you give this one, Steve?
Again, man, I mean, sort of as we echoed last night in the review, which is available right now over youtube.com/Stephen Larson, the full review of the show. This, to me, felt a lot like Jericho versus Hook, except without the extended thing about, which I like. Jericho actually did learn that a Judas Effect isn't going to put away Hook, so instead of pinning him, he went for the garbage can Shibata. And I long story short, I gave it 2.75, man. Like, I don't know. It's a gimmick match that we've seen. We just saw it with the Hook and Jericho match. Not a lot of new stuff. And the outcome was fairly predictable. They did Brian Keith a disservice by bringing him in a learning tree and immediately chumping him out.
Yeah.
So 2.75 stars for this match. I'm just sort of kind of over. I'm kind of over it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, same. I gave it the same score. It seems like the only thing different for these FTW rules matches is what unusual weapon someone's going to bring to the ring. Of course, when it was Jericho and Shibata, it was the hockey pucks. Here it was because they're in Vegas, dice. Otherwise, they kind of fit a similar pattern. And Brian Keith getting put into the Jericho vortex. I mean, you think in theory that's good because maybe, and this is a huge maybe, it gets him out of taking all the L's to various people. Now he's just probably going to take L's to people Jericho's feuding with. But he's involved in a story rather than just taking random L's on Collision and Dynamite. Maybe that'll be of some benefit to him. I guess it's a better spot than he was in before. But yeah, this match was just kind of all right. 2.75 stars.
I agree. What's next?
Mox defeating Takeshita in the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match. Oof. You got 2 wrestlers here that are really good. Takeshita can, legitimately make the argument that he's top 10 in the world.
Sure.
He's that good. And I feel like this match was somewhat hamstrung by the arm beatdown on Collision, where that was exclusively Takeshita's focus.
Yeah.
And in focusing exclusively on the arm, or primarily on the arm, it took away some of the more dynamic aspects of Takeshita's offense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pro wrestling storytelling 101, work a limb, especially a damaged one. But I feel like this match would have been a lot better, a lot more interesting if that wasn't part of the equation. Like if you had a fresh Mox versus a fresh Takeshita, and they're doing really quick-paced, dynamic stuff, that would make for a more interesting match rather than, all right, we're going to spend 15 minutes watching Takeshita do arm wringers on Mox.
Yeah, right.
I mean, as far as telling the story they set out to accomplish, they did a fine job. The finish wasn't that great because it kind of came out of nowhere. I'll give it 3 stars. It was fine, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
They spent 17 minutes, which is a long time.
A long time.
It is a long time. They spent 17 minutes just working the arm. It was redundant. It was 3 times the amount of time it should have been. And the match was 17 minutes and 20 seconds. 20 seconds was the finish. which just came out of nowhere after Takeshita had already just wrecked Mox. I was not into this match at all. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars because you're just wasting my time at a certain point. You're right. They are both really good wrestlers, and Takeshita is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. But for him to wreck Mox's arm for 17 minutes straight, and then for him to lose in the fashion he did, I understand why he's out there complaining about being booked in America. I get it, because it's this kind of stuff.
Yep.
I understand from a political standpoint, New Japan's not going to let Jon Moxley get pinned unless Tony Khan overrides him. But there's like the DDT aspect of it too, where they're like, oh my God, that's not going to happen. So yeah, but I just think it could have been, something. I get the story, I understand it, but if you're planning on a 17-minute match and the entire thing is just that, you gotta bring something else. So yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. Wasn't huge in this match.
Yeah. Next, another match I'm guessing neither of us were huge on. The barbed wire steel cage. You got Adam Copeland defeating Malachi Black. Steve, what'd you give this one?
Man, I couldn't be too harsh on this one. I couldn't. I gave it 3.5 stars.
Wow.
They worked their asses off. Poor Edge coming off the top with the elbow drop landing on his feet. This might be the highest score. I gave this an extra point just for God damn, man, these poor dudes. Man, it might not have been necessarily my kind of thing, but I appreciate the theatrics involved. Both men bled a shit ton. There was some interesting visual stuff going on with the crown of thorns or the crown of the barbed wire crown. So I can appreciate that element of it. Yeah, we were clowning the crap out of Gangrel showing up and doing that, but that's just sort of classic WWE stuff. I'm an E-drone, so I gotta rate this a little bit higher, man. I appreciate the work that was put in. I appreciate the effort and the theatrics and the drama and the build to this match. So I gave it 3.5 stars.
Wasn't into it. 2.5 stars. It was long.
Okay, so that's your Mox Takeshita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the match that, for the most part, really put the brakes on momentum for the show. I mean, it started all the way back probably in Trenton Orange, but by the time this match came to a conclusion, I was ready for bed. They try that corny swerve with Buddy and Brody where they stand by Malachi and then go stand by Edge.
I like that stuff.
Oh, that was corny. We were laughing when it happened, man.
I know. It's entertaining. I'm cool with it.
It was hecka corny. I understand the pro wrestling trope that the older you get, the more powered up you are, but still, we haven't seen Gangrel on cable television in 20-plus years.
Yeah.
And for him to come out and just obliterate Buddy and Brody, no, it's too much for me to suspend my disbelief. I can appreciate the work that Cope and Malachi put into this. Pace was too slow. The story beats I was not into. 2.5 stars.
There you go.
Moving on for the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné defeated Willow Nightingale, become the new champion. Steve, what'd you give this match?
Loved the match. Wasn't huge on the finish. I gave it 4.25 stars. I love Willow. I think she's a terrific wrestler. Mercedes Moné is one of the best, to do it, especially, in America with the women's divisions, the various women's divisions that she's been in. They came out with a sense of urgency. It never let up, with the exception of the finish where Statlander didn't really factor too much into it, and then she turns on Willow. But then I thought the turn was really good. I thought, her pushing Stokely and then him laughing all maniacally when, she actually does turn on Willow. I thought the actual turn was effective. I thought it should have happened, as sort of a build to the finish of the match. But I can't quibble too much about it. I gave it 4.25 stars.
If they had nailed the landing on this one, I might have gave it 4.5 because everything preceding the end was really good.
Yeah, right.
You mentioned the sense of urgency. Like the strategy of both of them to go after each other's legs, given what happened in their first match, I thought was really good. 3/4, 85% of this match even was outstanding. And for me, it wasn't so much even the out of nowhere nature of the finish, because I thought that the transition into Mercedes hitting her finisher was really well done.
Yeah.
It surprised me how smooth and how quickly that happened. It was simply just, in my mind, it makes more sense for Stat to turn during the match because there's more heat on their feud.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Stat directly cost Willow the title rather than the indirectly prevented her from winning early on.
Yeah.
That just it creates a feud of more urgency and heat, and it's a detail that I'm bummed out they missed. So I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good.
I feel like Willow hitting Mercedes with that Doctor Bomb through the table a couple weeks ago, I thought was a really, really strong image. And in my mind, that's saying, Mercedes, you gotta, like, you're gonna be fighting from under now, you know? And they didn't really go there for the finish of the match. So yeah, it just left me thinking, okay, well, Willow's not good enough, but the entire time she has been good enough.
Yeah.
She beat her legit. And, you know, if you want to take the injury, you know, if you want to incorporate that into the kayfabe nature of things, you know, part of the story is not Mercedes said, okay, you're going over because I'm fucked up. I don't know how long I'm going to be.
Yeah.
You know, which is what happened. That's not part of the story. The story is she fucked her up in the match and then won.
Yeah.
and so, like, now all of a sudden she's not as good. A year later, she's not as good. I'm not huge into that. So you're right. It would have been, I would have given it a higher rating, but you know, like you said, 85% of the match thought was outstanding.
It was fantastic. Yeah. Let's move on to the AEW World Championship match. Swerve Strickland defeating Christian Cage to retain the AEW World title. What'd you give this one, Steve?
Again, I thought it was just a really solid match. I gave it 4 stars. Maybe a little bit on the long side for my taste. I think I went 24 minutes on this one. But when I went back and I read that, I was 24 minutes. It didn't feel like 24 minutes. So that's a big credit to the people in the match. Yeah, you know, one of the things about it is the foregone conclusion nature of it. You know, understanding that there's no way Swerve is going to lose this title right now. And so that might have, like, killed a little bit of the tension. We talked about that, I think, on that last WWE pay-per-view with the Cody Logan Paul match.
Yeah.
And you know, so in a similar fashion, I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a very, very, very entertaining, solid, just boom, 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 good match.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I gave it 3 3/4, not too far off from you, but again, with the lack of drama, you know, even though it is solid 24 minutes of wrestling, you're waiting to see just how it finishes. And the finish was great with Swerve hitting that midair house call.
Yeah, it was cool.
Stomp and then another house call to get the win. It was really fun, creative finish. But yeah, it given that it was a certainty that Swerve was going to win, lacked a bit of drama. And let's move on to Anarchy in the Arena, your main event for Double or Nothing.
I'm really curious what you're going to give this match.
So these Anarchy in the Arena matches aren't so much about story, they're about moments. They're about outlandish moments, comedic moments. And maybe if we're lucky, by the time the match finishes, anywhere between 25 and 30 minutes after the opening bell, maybe we'll get something worthwhile from a story perspective. You'll always get the moments. You'll get Eddie Kingston coming down with the thing of gasoline, you know. And there was plenty of moments you could point to in this match. You got Jack Perry being lit on fire, Darby being suspended above the ring and taking the super kicks. But these matches, from a storytelling perspective, just, I don't know. There's not much connection beyond, oh, wow, they did something. You know, and I don't find myself invested so much in the outcome. I'm invested, and not even to a great degree, what crazy stuff are they going to think up? It's entertaining. Probably the most clever aspect of the match is changing the music that plays during it, which is fun and is interesting from a character perspective. But in the end, these matches happen. I don't think about the matches. I think about the 1 or 2 moments that are memorable from them.
Okay.
I gave it 3 3/4 stars. I think it was the same I gave it last year. I don't know if Anarchy in the Arena is necessarily for me, especially when someone gets lit on fire.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what's absolutely wild? Is that everything you just said, I can't necessarily quibble with. But I was about to talk this match up as being entertaining and fun and wild And the fire bit I loved, and the Darby getting strung up bit I loved, with the super kicks with their stupid Reeboks. I loved the music stuff. I loved Dax's ridiculous belt. I loved Cash looking like Road Dogg. I loved everything about it. But it ain't a wrestling match. I gave it the same score you did. I gave it 3 3/4. But that being said, this is weird. We gave it the same rating, but I love that you didn't.
Yeah. Like, I can appreciate the creativity put into the match.
It's not a wrestling match.
It's not a wrestling match.
I can't give it 4 stars if it ain't a wrestling match.
It's 20 minutes of brawling around the arena, then what kind of wild...
Rainmaker Drive!
That's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's funny.
And then you get 5 to 10 minutes of, all right, they're going to build towards the end.
Yeah.
But like the 20 minutes to open the match, there might be some fun stuff, but it's just brawling around the arena. In terms of the story they're attempting to tell in the match, it largely doesn't matter.
It's not a wrestling match.
It's not a wrestling match.
It's just silliness. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can only go so far. I can only give that so many stars.
Exactly.
I am actually legitimately surprised you gave it so many stars.
I can appreciate the creativity in some of the spots. You know,
yeah.
It wasn't boring. It wasn't
No,
bad.
it was not. It was 20. It was just shy of 30. It was 29 minutes and change.
You know,
and
it
didn't feel like it.
No, it didn't drag at all. It didn't feel like a 30-minute match. It moved quick, and there was some funny spots and some creative spots and some clever spots. But I mean, what did we get out of this match at the end? We're getting a Jack Perry, Bryan Danielson program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Which would be good, and it'd be good for Jack Perry, but it's not a massive story beat, especially when it main evented. I was like, oh, is Hangman going to come back or something like that going to happen, you know?
Yeah, no, they're just going to set somebody on fire, which I thought was awesome.
Not a terrible idea.
Anyways, let us know what you guys think. What are your star ratings for the matches we talked about at Double or Nothing? Leave them in the comments below. Do us a solid. Hit that subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Head over to the podcast channel. Check out our full podcast length review over there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time. We'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.